Commission for Gender Equality has welcomed progress towards the decriminalisation of sex work and sex workers in South Africa. This is after the Deputy Minister for Justice and Constitutional Development announced a decision to hold consultative meetings on the issue. For more on this, we're joined by Javu Baloyi, Commission for Gender Equity spokesperson. Mr. Baloyi, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. This latest move, is it welcome?
Yes, it is welcomed based on the position that the Commission for Gender Equality has investigated, has engaged with sex workers and the institution like SWET and others in the field of sex work. So it is something that the Commission welcomed, and also I must also hasten to inform you, we'll also be reviewing the position. Not that we want to change it, but to see if it's still relevant as the minister is doing, because these things were done some years ago, and we as much as it's a welcome move, we also want to satisfy ourselves with some of the findings that we found by then, and if I find that certain things have changed by now.
Remind us of those findings.
Some of the findings that we have realized that it was the criminalization of sex workers, and also for them not to form unions, and also for them not to access health services. And the aspect of that, we realized that there were no freedoms ascertained unto them. So those are some of the findings that it was given by the report by them, and also recommended that the decriminalization should be the one that adopted by the country as speedily as possible, so that we can not entirely, but try to rope those ones who want to go back to their normality, because due to one of the aspects of sex work and sex workers, some are coerced into doing this work, some are doing it because of poverty, others, there were syndicates running the issue of sex work. So we wanted to ascertain ourselves as a Commission for Gender Equality, what are the issues that we need to look at, what can we still look at when we want to review this position paper. If we adopt it as it is again, what are the issues that we'll want to advance even when we meet with the minister to be the Minister of Justice? Those were the pertinent issues that came to before us, and sex workers adopted that unanimously, but we still have to engage going forward.
And I'd like for us to expand on the issues that you want to advance. So with the consultative meetings that are going to be taking place, what is it that you are hearing from sex workers that you will then present to these meetings that will be held? And will these sex workers also be part of the consultative processes?
Yes, they have to be. Nothing about them without them. Even in our consultative process before, as a Commission for Gender Equality, we had sex workers, we had institutions like SWET, we had Sonke Gender Justice, and other institutions that came all over the country to come to our head office here in Braamfontein to engage with us and say, yes, this is the voice that we wanted. Because remember, most of the people in the sex industry are women by nature, and also even if they're men, they're also equally vulnerable. So those are some of the issues that we want to advance. And with the review of the position does not mean that the issues that were there are gone now, but it might find that we need to tweak here and there. One of the fundamental aspects is the collaboration or the working together between various departments and entities, including ourselves, the Commission for Gender Equality, the role played by Department of Health, the role of SAPS, because these things emanated from a complaint that was launched with us in two of the offices in Durban and Cape Town about the abuse that they were suffering at the hands of the police. So we could want to find out if these things are still persisting. What if they are not persisting? What can be done in order to educate and build capacity based on the position that will be adopted by the Ministry of Justice? And I would believe that on the right path in order to safeguard the rights and the health and the dignity and the psychological aspect of sex workers in South Africa.
Are you able to give us timelines, and when can we expect that this will come to a conclusion and there'll be something to report?
Our Section 6 committee has started with the work, and I should think even before the Deputy Minister finishes, we'll have to have something. And even in the provincial legs of the consultative meetings, there will be something to be presented. But we want to move with speed. Section 6 committee have been assigned, and then people have been identified by the Commission to see to it that we move as speedily as possible ahead of the Minister to be the Minister of Justice. The timeline, it has to happen before the conclusion of the national consultative processes, so that we can give ourselves ample time to register our own position. Remember, this position has also been presented before Parliament and various portfolio committees in Parliament, and that's why it won't be very difficult for us to move with that speed.
This as we celebrated International Women's Day yesterday on the 8th of March. I wonder, just from the conversations that you have been having with some of these sex workers, you highlighted some of the challenges that they face in terms of doing this because of a myriad of issues and, maybe one not having a choice, but to go into this line of work. What were they telling you about how they're being made to feel here?
They're made to feel despondent, less of human beings, that, the Constitution doesn't work for them. It looks like Constitution is designed for certain people. Also, we, at times, as people, as citizens of this country, we have got a limitation on the understanding of the Constitution that, everyone has got the right to be, regardless of their sexual orientation, their gender, and everything else. That's something that, they ask us, to continuously engage civil society, stakeholders, government department about the rights of sex workers, because they are human beings also. They're also governed by the same Constitution that governs you and I do this. So that's something else that they raise. And also thanking the Commission immensely for raising the issue of sex workers, for raising the rights and as being the champion of the rights of people in the country and the rights of sex workers, because, we do not discriminate. The country's laws do not discriminate against anybody else. Those what they were saying, and you will be surprised that, they were sending WhatsApps yesterday to say thank you for the Commission for bringing this issue, for pushing even government departments and Parliament also to take heed that, sex workers also need to be taken into cognizance, and they are human beings also. And that was very interesting, and International Women's Day, that, we remember the less vulnerable people, the most marginalized people of our society, and the most discriminated people of our society.
Very quickly for us, to your knowledge, because when something like this happens, especially when it's a policy issue, then you have the black market, which then thrives. Are there people who are still, able to do this work?
Yes, there are people who are still able to do this work. But ours is to ensure that, we help those who are, we are able to help them. It will thrive, in everything that, people start talking about it. You will hear that in almost all the provinces now, we hear that sex workers all over the streets, some, are being killed, some are being coerced, some are being raped. So those are some of the worries that we have. But lo and behold, we hope the law enforcement and the various agencies will keep the scourge of killing and abusing sex workers, and we'll come to a determination as a country, as people, how do we progress from here, so that, we safeguard. You look at the Scandinavian nations, it is working very well. If this can be regulated and decriminalized, we believe as a commission, and yet still that is it's limited to what the review process will come about. But so far the position that we have taken is decriminalization, and we hope through that position things can be better for the sex workers and sex work in the country.